there, Tenno. I'm Shadow Scythe, and today we're doing a fashion frame review of the brand new Avia armor set and the new Sandana which came out, which is called the Centuria Sandana. I could not remember that off the top of my head, though. I apologize. I will also be talking about the new augment mods that were added, and the fact that, let me swap my secondary really quick, because they just updated the Furus with that brand new sexy ass appearance and PBR. Ooh, that looks really freaking good, although I am going to have to change those purples around because that just looks god-awfully atrocious. But that will be for another time. Now, as you can see, I've got the Avia armor on Titania already, and it actually doesn't look too bad. It blends in really well with her overall form, because it's like all these little wing-like bits. And I was going to do the Centuria Sandana on her as well, except for the fact that 90% of the Sandanas that you put on Titania are just absolutely destroyed because of her wings down here on her hips. And honestly, if you're thinking about buying the Centuria Sandana, don't. That is 70 platinum that you will regret spending. Now, it looks really good in the picture, but let me switch over to Equinox. Go down to my gram, and it is this gigantic, blocky hunk of garbage. You do not want to spend your plat on this. I picked it up specifically to do the video, and I'm glad that I did, because then those of you that do watch me, you're going to know to avoid this Sandana at all costs. If you use it on somebody like Inaros, or maybe even Atlas, someone who's big, blocky, and doesn't have a whole lot of movement, it might be okay, because it's basically the same deal as the... Fuck, what the hell is that Sandana called that came out with Atlas? The Abyssus Sandana? But other than that, no. You do not want to mess around with that at all.
Alert marked on navigation, Tenno.
Now, as far as the augments, the first one that I will be talking about is Beguiling Lantern, which is an augment for Titania. It is achievable through, you can pick it up through the Red Veil or the New Loka for 25,000 standing. And I actually had to get it off of somebody else because I'm in the process of switching my syndicates over to the other side. Because originally what I did was New Loka, Parent Sequence, Red Veil, Steel Meridian. Now what I'm trying to do is Arbiters of Hexus, Cephalon Suda, Steel Meridian, and Red Veil. But I obviously had to pick it up because I am max rank with Cephalon Suda and could not get it with the New Loka. And if you lose the rank with the Red Veil that actually gives you access to the augment mods, even if you have the standing for it, you will not be able to pick it up. Anyway, here's what the mod does. Beguiling Lantern Augment. Attracted enemies take 100% more melee damage. Now, granted, this lower levels Lantern will basically just shred the shit out of anything already. But this is more ideal for those of you that like playing Titania and you bring her along on higher level missions. Which I will jump into mission to see how this works. Let's go into Uranus. It's not totally high level, but it's decent enough because I'm going into this solo. And while we load in, there are actually 3 other augments that came out. There is the Piercing Navigator augment for Ivara, which Piercing Navigator, I believe, is available through not only the Red Veil, but it should also be achievable through
There is a large
Cephalon
platoon
Suda,
at
if
the
I am
Grenier
remembering that
station
correctly.
here. Leave no one standing.
And what Piercing Navigator does is, it's a Navigator augment that increases the projectile's critical chance by 10%. Each hit increases it by 10%, maximizing at 50, or 10% up to the max of 50. I'm sorry that I'm kind of jumbling this. I'm kind of reading this all off of my second screen. Okay. I may have to go into... Okay, so in order to show you guys Beguiling Lantern, I may actually need to go into the Simulacrum.
Attack us, and we will counter.
Well, that's what Lantern does, obviously. Let me see if I can find a decent cluster of enemies. Oh, I don't have enough energy. Fuck me. Okay. Basically, it just makes them more prone to damage, as you can see. Especially since the war does primarily impact damage, so it's already weak against the Grenier. So even though these things are level 20, unless I crit, it usually takes like 3 hits. And as you can see, it was only taking like 2. Anyway, back to the other augments, since I pretty much got to show you what that one does. The next one is Pyroclastic Flow. It is an augment for Naja's Firewalker that lets you accumulate 150% of the damage that Firewalker deals, unleashing it in a trail of fire that lasts 10 seconds. Which I will do a video actually showing that off, because as of late, since I've been going back and revisiting some of my old Warframes that I've played and then kind of not touched them again, I've started to have fun with Neja, just because I've figured out I've kind of got a build that I really enjoy with him. And honestly, when I do the video featuring the augment, it'll probably be a locked and loaded video. So be sure to keep an eye out for that if you really want to see it. And then the last augment that was added was the Negator Swarm. It's a swarm augment for Inaros that his Scarab armor will protect him from status effects, consuming 3% of the bonus armor for each effect resisted. So, all in all, the augments that they added are not bad. I mean, really, Lantern was probably one of Titania's more useful powers. They're all pretty useful depending on how you play her. For the most part, I just sit in Razorwing, but I've started exploring extended duration builds with her, specifically for Lantern, Spellbind, and her buffs. Okay. And of course, Grenier tile sets love to turn you around. Other than, like, they also added the new user interface scaling, which I will probably do a little... I'll probably play around with that, but I don't think any of you guys are going to want to see me just sit here and play around with changing the size of my user interface. Let's get you...
Doors are locked. Time to break in.
Doors are locked, huh? It doesn't look like it. Oh, that's why. Really, game? Really?
Override successful.
But other
Let's
than
get going.
that, it's pretty much just been a few minor bug fixes here and there. Obviously, as if you guys are keeping up with anybody or any of the Warframe devs or the Warframe Twitter page itself, then you know DevStream 90 is tomorrow at 2, along with prime time at 7, as opposed to it being on Friday like normal. But this has been my fashion-forward review of the new Avia armor set and the Centuria Sandana, as well as my quick, brief discussion of the new augment mods that have been added to the syndicates. If you like this video for whatever reason, hit that like button and subscribe. If you want to stay up to date with me outside of the usual video updates, you can follow me on Twitter or player.me. Links are in the description box below. And if you would like to support the channel for whatever reason, you can check out my Patreon page. The link is in the description box below as well. And until next time, Tenno, stick to the shadows.